offering a seamless experience throughout the budgeting, controlling, and reporting process. Definitely sounds to me like Steve Wimper.
Yeah, Ajay, I can feel your enthusiasm about reporting, controlling, budgeting, planning, and yeah, no offense, Franz, but I have to admit it's probably not the most sexy topic in our portfolio, and probably not in general. But as an investor, I can tell you it's super important. I think everybody will agree on that. If you want to run your company smoothly and efficiently, you need to know your numbers and understand the dynamics of your business. So that's also the reason why we sit down a lot with our entrepreneurs and help them to get these processes right, reporting, budgeting, planning, all of that. Yeah, so we know that it's very often a tedious, error-prone, and yeah, painful process, but it must be done. So the truth is, but also that there are literally millions of SMEs out there that neither have the experience that our portfolio companies have in general, nor the support from investors like us, nor the resource and capability. So that said, it didn't took a long time, Franz, to convince us that there's a big problem and a big opportunity in front of us that Helu is going to solve.
Franz, actually the stage on the screen is yours.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Tom, for the introduction. So first of all, yeah, Tom, it's not the sexiest topic in the portfolio, but I think that's also a challenge, right? Make a boring topic sexy. That's part of the fun, and I think that's part of the challenge as entrepreneur also. No matter what you found, you want to address a pain point and make horrible things easy. And FP&A, financial planning and analysis, is one of those things that's really painful and really annoying. And if you go to the next slide, it's actually one of the things that happen purely in Excel. More than 70% of small and medium-sized enterprises use Excel for their controlling, cost center reporting, budgeting, planning, including all their team leads, dashboarding, and so forth. And none of them are happy with it. If you go to the next one. And that is what we step in, right? Those small and medium-sized enterprises, we plug into accounting softwares, pull the data from different sources, and allow them to automate the process, get rid of dozens of Excel sheets, an error-prone process where formulas break and you get annoyed by it. If you go to the next one. And that is obviously a large opportunity. Let's skip this slide and go to the next. I'll go to the market size in a second. Everyone knows we have tons of SMEs, and we decided to start in Germany. Why? Because there are 2.5 million businesses. There's one accounting software there called Datev. Datev has 70% market share, and we are the only company in a special partnership with them who is able to pull data on a granular single bookings level that nobody else can do. We know we have 3 competitors who also have venture funding in the US and one in the UK. And this market is so big, there is space for a couple of really significant companies in the space. And that's why we chose DACH. And I mentioned Personio in the slide before. They had a 6.5 billion valuation. You might call it inflated, but even if you deduct the major part of it with 5,000 businesses, they were a unicorn. And that you can easily reach in Germany alone. If you go to the next one. What do? We pull the data from different data sources, and then we help you. It's not like an enterprise system where you need weeks to set it up and consultants, but this is out of the box. You pull the data, you get your financial statements, you can map them, you get your controlling down to the single bookings level. Next slide. You get your budgeting, planning, scenarios, all that with different team member access rights. You can invite your investors who haven't had single bookings level transparency. Maybe you don't want to give it to them, then you can create different budgets, right? Where you have external budgets, management cases, best cases, other cases that you can discuss and agree on, and internally have other goals that you need to pursue. The same with liquidity monitoring. If you go to the next one. And let's skip this slide again in the interest of time and to make it more exciting for everyone. DACH alone, I mentioned that, 2.5 million companies in Germany alone, 600,000 are in Dativ. If you go to the next, it's the way we are reaching companies are through different partnerships of so-called softwares that install Dativ and they promote us. And let's go to the next. To give you a bit more of a vision, because I think we don't have time for how we are gaining traction in the market. We have companies that use the tool that we upgrade that are heavy users. And I think how we scale would not be so interesting for you. What's more interesting is what's the product vision maybe for this session. Once you have Dativ, if you go back to the previous slide, once you have Dativ, we can plug in any accounting software, right? You can go to consolidation, you can integrate ERP systems, QuickBooks, Xero, Sage, many others. And also we can go into different domains. We can go into the cash flow domain, integrate banking APIs. That's a standard product you can buy off the shelf. With one single API, white labeled all banking integrations. You can go and integrate CRM tools, HubSpot, Pipedrive, HR tools, so that at the end of the day, you want everything in one place. Next one. And that leads me to the target profile. Our target, the only churn that we have when talking about target profile, people stopping to use Helu, are the ones that migrate away from Dativ because they outgrow the system and they actually start using ERP systems. That's why also we're significantly interesting acquisition target down the line, because these larger ERP companies need a funnel to build a pipeline of customers potentially migrate. And our goal is obviously to, in the next years, 4 or 5 years, build the product such that we can actually allow them to stay on local accounting softwares and then consolidate on an FP&A platform like ours. Currently, the target group is SMEs between, starting from 20 employees, but usually 40, 50, 60, 70 employees. They want off-the-shelf products, and then they grow with us. That's where the pain point comes up. That's where you start having 5 different Excel sheets, where you start running the company not only by the bank account anymore. That's enough if you're a smaller seed stage company or a grocery store. But the moment you have a slightly larger business, you need to have full transparency. And for that, you need your balance sheet. For that, you need your P&L, and that you only get through the accounting data. So those companies have own controlling, they have in-house bookkeeping or not, or do this through the tax advisor still. There's some diversity in there. To wrap it up, next one, we're super proud and thankful to have Iris's support. We are building a strong team out of Vienna, although our only active market is Germany, simply because it's a bigger market. And I launched my first company there. Then I was a partner at Speed Invest, which is a venture capital fund, 1 billion under management. And we did some investments there, mostly in Germany, which is where I lived. And that's why we chose Germany as our first market. And last but not least, the last slide, we have significant support also from other investors. WeFox founder, where I sat on the board, previously a unicorn in Germany. Bitpanda's founder, Commerz Ventures, who also supported the A round. Christoph, who supported us in the seed stage, and also my previous company. Most investors from my first company also invested in my second company, and we're super thankful and happy to also be now working with Iris Capital. Thanks.